Okay, good evening, all. Sorry, we're a little light this evening with Mike and Kevin on the road with the Jersey section, but certainly Mark and I are here to represent. I'm going to kind of go off the agenda like usual, but I did want to just mention to the committee, I know Mike had sent an email earlier, and there were a couple attachments he put in there, one of which was, I believe, the proposed budget for 26. It's still in the workshop draft stage. So Mike had mentioned that if the committee had any and all questions pertaining to the budget, just to make sure you get those to him by November the 6th. So certainly we'll address those. And I just printed out the other attachment Mike had sent to you all that you probably saw, the capital request, just to kind of go off of that a little bit so you could see what the draft was there for the projections for 2025 and then 26. I know there's a little bit left to spend from 2025, and I think Mike had mentioned a little bit about some bunker projects here that I think we're gonna maybe do a couple. I'm not exactly sure, but I know we're chatting about that. So going off of the agenda, I'm going to just kind of go down through the rounds and revenue this is all through the end of September. Pretty consistent as we've gone through each month, but our gross revenue is up just under $82,000 versus where we were in 2024. And like we've seen consistently, our green fees are up compared to last year, 208,453, with our rounds being down compared to last year. Our rounds are 3,899, so pretty much 3,900 rounds less this year than last year, and we've made significantly, a decent number higher. So certainly the weather impacted us in May, but we know that with the green fee increase and other things, certainly the golf course is in great shape, and you're seeing the accolades of Mother Nature being friendly to us in this fall. It's been really, really good. So it's been good, and the same thing holds true with the golf shop. You'll see on this line it says the golf shop's up $12,225 versus where we were in 2024 overall. And our sales are down, but as we've touched on each month, our profit margins or our cost of good is significantly better than where we were last year. So our cost of goods or our profit margins were 34% this year. So we've made $50,796 versus where we were last year at this time at 24%. So obviously 10% less, and you can see what we made this time last year, 38,571. So, kind of that common theme where even though our rounds are down, it hasn't certainly impacted our margins, but certainly impacted our sales. But overall, with pricing structure, inventory, we're certainly doing really well this year. And I've had some fittings in September. We started to do a little bit more here. I know, others I've chatted with you on the side that we'll try to get caught up. So it's, I think hard goods is a little under where we'd like to be overall, but I've been really pleased with our sales and everything in our golf shop. Kevin's influence has helped along the way too. You'll see in the promotional one that I handed out, this is more marketing for emails and everything else, but we've been doing some fall sales and things like that starting, back at even the beginning of September. So we definitely have, a decent amount of sales going on, and just, overall, foot traffic. I mean, our September and October is our outing season. So the good part about that is, we have a lot more gift certificates that have to be redeemed in the shop. So that really helps to, kind of increase. Like today we had a big golf outing, and, you end up getting a lot more sales at the end of the day. So I think we've had 23 outings in a matter of 6 weeks. So it's been a good finish. And that's kind of a common theme we've seen since COVID. Most of our outings are September and October, whereas they used to be May and June. So with the golf course being in great shape and Mother Nature usually being pretty good to us in the fall, it's a good time of year to have the outings. So as we keep going through, our total expenses are down versus 2024, 89,399. So that's great overall. So then obviously our net income is up over $212,000 for the year. Obviously, we know water has, a little bit to do with that on the expense side earlier in the summer, but this fall we've had to do what we need to do to keep things going. So we're still 212,000 ahead, which is great. So just, certainly bringing the committee up to speed there. And like I said, going back off of Mike's email earlier this week, certainly I think conversations are, we were talking about this kind of dynamic pricing model a little bit. And, as Mike alluded to in his email, he, kind of wanted to bring the concept back up about a possibility of a resident card. And the way Mike laid it out was maybe trying to look at it as the fee was going to be $99 a year for the card, and it still keeps your 21 days dating for tee times, and dynamic pricing wouldn't affect our resident. That's a rate card holder. And then the residents that are not, maybe they would get a 2-week booking window and just maybe a slight $5 discount on the regular rates. It's kind of how Mike touched on it, with the emphasis being on our non-resident or our public non-resident model. The dynamic pricing with the 10-day advance tee times, raise the green fees about 10 to 15% more based on timing and things like that. So again, I think Mike we really wanted to just revisit it and just get some conversation with the committee. So certainly this is something that we can touch on, and certainly Mike can touch on as well. I don't know if there's any feedback through the email chain. I didn't see anything with, okay. Yeah.
I'd have to look at the numbers and see how much we're hurting non-residents, which make up the bulk of the play. I know the residents should get a break, but they do today. Do we reach a point with the non-residents where they say, okay, it's just enough, I'm going to go somewhere else? We wouldn't know until we try. And then the other part is with all respect to everybody from Spirit Golf, our ability to manage something that's dynamic. You guys are so busy, and to get it right in the shop on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, unless the price is somehow tied to the tee time system, that I just don't know.
Yeah, I think that'd be the only way it could be done.
Because otherwise,
or should be done.
We don't want to ask Eileen or any of the people that are opening.
No. I wouldn't want to put that on counter.
Deal with something like that.
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
One, echoes back to the conversation, the point I made, I think was in March, which is, what are we, a constituent service, or are we a for-profit entity? I believe also, I completely support the idea of a resident card, because we are residents, we are paying tax dollars for the golf course, and we should have some type of benefit for the residents. The non-member, I prefer demand versus dynamic pricing, but demand-based pricing is no different than the concept of an airline. If you want that 7:30 flight, is going to be cheaper more expensive than that flight that's going to go out at noontime. And I personally, at my property, we use pre-swing. They're integrated with a number of golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
Its algorithms are matching. There would be no impact on the golf shop operations whatsoever. So I see our liaison to the board is actually is logged in here on remotely. I can only speak for myself on the committee. I 110% support Spirit moving forward with this process.
Do those dynamic pricing models have a floor? In other words, like if you were a non-resident, you'd never pay less than a certain amount. There'd be a fixed amount that would be the standard rate. Unless it was busy, it'd be elevated. Is that the way, am I understanding that right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, you set a reference rate, and then you set a floor rate, and then there's a ceiling rate.
Yeah, you
And the algorithm is working constantly. So in theory, for example, at my property on the weekend mornings, it's $125 as the reference rate. The floor rate happens to be $125 because we're gonna get it. And then it accelerates up to potentially $145. Obviously, I have the ability to go in as Ed or Kevin or Mike or somebody with conversation with this committee. You can make adjustments for this time of the year versus other times of the year. Maybe you don't raise the ceiling as much because obviously play is waning a little bit.
So in that example, if someone booked early, it was a busy time, the algorithm said it's 145. The day's getting near, the weather looks iffy, a lot of people cancel, there's spots available. Does it stay at 145 or do you get?
I wish I knew the algorithm because I would have written it myself,
Right,
but
right.
it'll fluctuate accordingly.
So I
It's
could have
ba-
booked it at 145, I could end up paying 125.
No. Whenever you book it at.
What you book is.
It's no different than the airline. So you could be sitting next to the person in the seat and they may have paid 145 and you may have paid 125. Third seat over may have paid 135.
But that person that paid 145, if they realize that, I suppose they could cancel their booking and then rebook at 125.
If they want to take that risk.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, I know we touched on just the one feature we have tied into our T sheet now that's called no T-Fi, that really has allowed residents and non-residents that have access to the T sheet, that they always feel like, oh, okay, I can never find a tee time. Once they set up their profile and notify what times of the day and days of the week they play, if something becomes available, they would book that. And in this case, if something became available on a Saturday, 8:30 to 9 o'clock, and that time is, going to go rather quickly, I'm sure, the algorithm's going to reflect what, potentially higher rate would be. It's certainly not going to go below the non-resident or a floor price, whatever that would be.
It's going to basically send a notification to, let's say all of us wanted that 8:30 tee time. We set up our parameters to do so.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to send a notification out there with a line on there that indicates this tee time is suddenly been made available. If you wish to, no guarantee that it's going to be available, act quickly.
Right.
So all of us could log on at the same time and it may, Rich may have just scooped it up and
Correct.
I'm still,
Yeah.
waiting at the bag drop.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd like to, if I could weigh in on this, I think the dynamic pricing, I agree with that. I think it's a good idea. However, the resident card, I'm looking at it a little differently. Because I recently retired, I now have a lot of time to play golf. I played more golf this year than I ever have in my life. When I was still working and raising a family, I would occasionally play. So I think the way I read it was that if you're a resident, and as of right now, if you're a resident, you get 3 week and you get the resident rate. You have to buy a card at $99 to give you that same option. So as a resident, we're losing. As a person who plays a few rounds of golf a year, we're losing as a resident. Still taking a risk as taxpayers, but we're getting less. So I don't know if I would not be in favor of that particular move. I think in the beginning, when we were having the discussion about the resident card, there was a lot of people that were coming into the building and saying, I'm a resident, and they really weren't. So I don't know I'm sure you've gotten it down to where you're pretty good at knowing who's a resident and who's not.
The township has to answer Alan's question first, because that'll speak to the resident, to the point you raised with the resident card, because
So
in my mind, let me finish, in my mind, resident cards are not, and I've been pushing for resident cards since
yes, you have.
day one. They're going to sell the tee time one way or the other, right? So the resident, having a resident card isn't going to hurt the golf course. The golf course is going to sell the tee times. So the question becomes, how does it benefit the golf course? Probably makes it a little bit easier in the pro shop if somebody has a card, a couple minutes, minute, depends on the day. And how does it make it better for the residents? Because when we first started, even before Spirit was here, I mean, plenty of people coming in.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, to Alan's point, and the question that was asked 6 months ago is, what are we? And I think we are a township amenity, but we also are a business that needs to make sure it pays its bills and can bring back into the revenue for Lower Makefield Township. And what I'm saying is that with the dynamic pricing, and you have that opportunity to generate more money, great idea. But as far as the resident card, tying it to residents that only might play a few times a year, you're now getting less than what we're currently getting. Now, because I can take advantage of playing during the week because I don't have to go to work and my obligations as a parent have
Right.
drastically reduced, I play a lot more. And I only play during the weekdays. I don't play on the weekends. However, someone that might be, in their 40s, 50s or whatever, that are tied up with things during the week because they're working and might only play a few times during, the season, they're going to have to spend $100 or $99 in addition to the golf, the fee and everything, just to get the 3-week out. Because I go on and I look for tee times, and as a single, I'm able to find them. But as a foursome during the week, I definitely have to go 3 weeks in advance.
Oh, yeah.
It's that crowded. So I'm not saying that we're not going to sell the tee times.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you're trying to answer that question, what are we? I think, yes, we do want to pay the bills, but yes, we still are a service to the township person. And I'm just saying from my own experience that as someone who can only play a few times a year because of obligations, that would kind of stink that I have to spend $100 to get back the right that I've had for 20 years. That's just me.
Yeah, I understand. I could find out.
I don't think they're expensive. Is it? I thought it was 25, but it might be a couple of years dated. So Alan, what do you guys charge for a resident card?
We're not affiliated with any,
So you don't have a
we
resident?
don't have a resident
You don't
card.
have a member.
Yeah.
And what's the, just so I can understand, the $100, was it kind of an arbitrary number, or is it just the price that would be valued with giving the resident the extra week at the base rate kind of thing?
Yeah, just knowing that 21 days and pricing's not changing and just, kind of.
Because if that value, and I don't have the answer here, but if that value is what the question is, like in Pat's mind, right? Like, I got to pay an extra $100 to get what I had, but there might be a way to do say it's $100, but maybe provide us an additional benefit to the resident that does that. Like maybe they could offset their association membership by that
Right.
amount, or they
Range.
get something in the
Some type of range,
clubhouse where they
range
can go and,
value or
they're
something.
gonna spend more anyway, but if
Yeah.
you give them some of that.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
a
restaurant,
good point.
this might be a way to make it easier to swallow.
Monmouth County is 52.
Okay. Yeah.
So just slight tangent, but to the question about demand, there was an article that came out with the National Golf Foundation about 2 months ago, and it ranked every state according to population and the number of public access golf courses. New Jersey, which our neighbor to the east, obviously, we still, I'm sure, get a ton of play from New Jersey because it is the worst by far. They have 70 public access golf courses, which is comparable to North and South Dakota. And it's got the most populated state. So the demand in Jersey, it would not surprise me if you're having a number of people popping over from Mercer County
Sure.
all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you.
How many people do you think, if you're forecasting it, would buy the card?
Our residents?
How many residents do you think you put through the golf course a year right now?
I think if you look at our tee sheet, like we've typically have seen over the years, it's probably been about I would probably say like a 65% non-resident, 35% resident.
I
It
thought
might,
was-
maybe it's
I thought it
70,
was
30.
Like 25 when we looked at it.
Talking about in profit, are we talking about by doing $100?
Yeah, I think I don't know, there's not, I mean, there's certainly revenue there, but I think it's going to be more about just providing those residents that are actively playing the opportunity to still have the say, if the committee and others felt like we were going to go to a demand pricing model without having changing their green fees and still having the access to the 21 days, that's a huge advantage.
Sure.
You know, so.
That is an advantage. I didn't realize that, but it protects them from the dynamic
Yes.
pricing change.
Yeah, that's a big advantage.
You would never pay more than that base rate.
No, but so right now I get 3 weeks out and I get
No, I understand what you're saying.
and I get the,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I
I
get it.
understand that it protects you from that dynamic. But if you're a resident, you're only going to get $5 off and you're not going to be subjected, or you're not going to have the opportunity to have a 3-week out. And if you play just a few times a year, yeah, I'm not for it. So if it came to a vote, I would vote no for the card.
No, I got you, I got you.
I'm just, no, he said $5 if the card was in effect. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just referring, what Pat's saying is true, like if the resident was a non-card holder and didn't play much golf, there would be a 14-day booking window that he or she would get instead of the 21 days and maybe a slight discount in the green fee.
So you're losing on two ends.
But that's certainly a resident that is certainly not playing much golf, but
But a resident is a resident, and we're still all on this hook for tax liability
yeah.
if the golf course goes under.
I'll weigh in on my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
I think there's some really good ideas with the dynamic pricing. I think as long as the conditions of the golf course continue to go up, which everybody said it was this
Yeah.
year, and we solve some of these water problems, you can continue to increase green fees. There is enough there from a revenue perspective to remember what we're trying to do both, which is be an asset, an affordable asset for the residents. So I wouldn't do the card, in my opinion, this year. I would focus on the other avenues to increase revenue on the golf course.
Okay.
And I would wait at least another year and maybe try to get a real true identity
Yeah.
as to whether it's going to generate enough money. Is it really worth it? What do the residents think of it? You know, those that want to play golf are already getting online 3 weeks at a time to try to get their tee time.
Sure, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and like I said, I think that was the key of like, we wanted to revisit. You know, that's the discussion and try to see where the demand pricing model might
Definitely
look
think
like.
there's
so.
opportunities though, and I would agree with the dynamic pricing, especially with the technology you have in place
Yeah.
now and putting an algorithm like that. That to me is a no-brainer.
Interestingly, if I can just throw one more point about the demand-based pricing, interestingly, by having the residents on the tee sheet,
Yeah,
it's artificially already going to jack up
right.
because the algorithm's going to read, you have 17 times, let's say, for example, available, 4 of them are already full. It's going to ratchet it up already just by having them
Just by having them being booked.
booking 14 days ahead,
Right,
or excuse,
right.
yeah, 14 days ahead of the non-resident.
Sure, sure. And like I said, I mean, this is, you know, certainly we're going to continue to discuss, you know, the conversation with Mike and others and all of you. So we just wanted to, I just wanted to, you know, kind of touch on that a little bit because I know Mike had sent that to all of us and to you all. So, and, you know, if you saw one of the responses too, just to give him a little end spirit, but, you know, obviously, as you know, he's been, in the golf business a long, long time. He's a great professional, Mike, and, you know, been fortunate to be with him. I know you've been with him longer than I have, but, in the Jersey section, very involved, and Kevin is certainly involved. And I know Alan and others have been involved in our sections, but, to be voted on and to be, you know, nominated and voted on, as the golf professional of the year is one of the highest accolades anyone could receive in the section. So hats off to Mike, as his professionalism is one of the reasons why he's the leader in New Jersey this year for sure. And we've, Kevin and all of us have been around him, and the rest of the staff is just, fortunate to have his leadership. So I just wanted to say congratulations. And I think that's a little bit of what I think was going on tonight as well with the section. So, and there was their meeting, but again, congratulations to Mike. So again, we can kind of table this for now and keep the conversation flowing for questions as far as that, on the side, with Mike and Kevin when we're talking about the model structure and things like that. But we were touching also on kind of a loyalty program piece that we used to have previously prior to COVID. So I think Club Caddy has a little component to that. So we're just kind of, again, revisiting that and making sure it's beneficial. And we're going to kind of find out and learn more about it this offseason, what it looks like. So stay tuned to that. We'll certainly let everybody know before any decisions made there. So just kind of going down the list here with September, I'll kind of touch on rounds and then let Mark jump into some of the maintenance and other things. But this kind of just ties back to what we were just touching on earlier. But September was certainly a good weather month. So we were actually ahead of budget in our rounds. So we were 5,102 versus a budget of 4,900 for the month. You can see the next bullet, we're 351 rounds short of where we were in September last year. So even though we're ahead of budget, we're still a little under versus 2024. Year to date through September, 38,409 against where we were this time last year through September is 42,308. So again, we touched on that earlier. And you can see the green fees and the cart fees for the month, 306,600 versus a budget of 277,830. So just a little over 28,000 ahead there. Range continues to always, do well. We did 26,432 against a budget of 25,000. Merchandise was just about right on par, 23,538 versus a budget of 23,850. So again, like I mentioned, still doing pretty well there. And we had a great kind of wrap up of our tournament season for the Highlands Association. We just had our Highlands Cup on Saturday, so thanks for a few of our members of the committee that were able to play. I know not everyone could play, but golf course was in great shape, as we've been touching on throughout this evening tonight, and the players are continuing to let us know how it's been playing and how good it's been. And I think some of the feedback we got from the golfers too, our association players last year when we modified that format a little bit to shotgun starts, has really just paid dividends. So it's been great, a little tricky on the admin side, but because we're later in October and we know it's a Saturday, but we were able to meet our golf numbers prior to that weekend. So to do an 8 o'clock shotgun got a little tricky with the frost, but we had to delay a little bit. So we'll continue to find ways to improve there. But I just think the camaraderie to the competition, to conditions, players, feedback. Thank you for, like I said, all the support from the committee and others that were our captains. Rick was one of them. Rich was helpful from an admin side. So again, great day. So, and we had a combination of our ladies, we had our seniors, we had men. So it was a really nice way to mix it up and really, really play well. And hopefully next year, Dennis, we'll get you in there. Our Folds of Honor event, it's always a big one for us. This is, I think, year 6. We've sold out rather quickly, which is a great thing. That's coming up on November 7th. We have 128 players. And my goal this year is to raise 12,000. So I'm hoping, Lord willing, we'll be able to do it. So the last few years, we've averaged anywhere from about 8,000 to 10,000. So it's been, we've been really fortunate to get a lot of support. We've had some really good sponsorships. We've done a lot of, fortunately, in the golf side of things, we get a lot of local golf courses that donate a foursome. So we get a lot of silent auction items going on. So it's it's been a great day for us. So we're excited for that. That'll kind of wrap up the tournament season as far as, our in-house events. And we're looking forward to that. Weather looks to be, hopefully pretty good for here on out, at least for,
Hey, Eddie,
Yeah.
when you do this Folds of Honor, you have your tournament, and then is there a meal that goes along with it afterwards?
yeah. So it's basically a golf outing for the most part. We do kind of a pregame little, because of the time of the day, it's a 10 o'clock start. So we do a little coffee and light something before they go. And then your golf, we do a chili bar at the turn, and then we do a nice full game, post-game meal. Yeah.
So like someone who couldn't play golf, could they come to the after?
They could,
Is that all
yeah,
kind
yeah. I
of-
mean, well, committee's
as a-
welcome, and we've had a few committee members over the years kind of help volunteer for, auctions or handing out tickets. So please, I mean, if anyone of the committee wants to come to that or would like to help volunteer, please let me know. We'd welcome, absolutely. We've over the years gotten the local kind of military to kind of come to the present of the colors. So I'm going to try to do that again this year. So it's like I said, it's just a great day. It's a great day. So that'll be on November 7th. Our ladies banquet was, and our ladies season for our league was another great success. So hats off to my assistant Joe, who kind of took on the leadership role there as the commissioner, and certainly helped him throughout. But a lot of really good feedback. A lot of handful of new players this year. We do just get really good support, and it was a great season. So we've done a lot with late women's golfers give back program. They'll usually get a couple groups per month that play in it, so we get some exposure from outside of our kind of core group. But on average, we probably get about 25 new ladies each year to the league. So it's a nice testament to how it started. And Lori, you've been a part of it for years, so help grow and continue to grow. And I think this year when we made that little tweak with the format for our ladies event as well, I think that was a nice touch, and we'll continue to find ways to keep ladies on the forefront, which we've always done. So it was another good season there. I just wanted to, kind of recap a little bit of just our academy highlights. I know Joe and all the coaches, there's a lot that go on behind the scenes, and I certainly have coached and will continue to do that, but I'm not quite on the forefront of that. But our junior academy, you can see here, raised $82,000 in total revenue. So we were up 1,500 from last year. And you can see the number of participants. We had 272 participants this year, and we were 40 more juniors this year than last. So always a good sign. And we started a new program, and then we started it with Monica with Parks and Rec as well here at the township to kind of help broaden the kind of golfer mindset that we have as far as our emails. But we used some of their platforms to kind of help launch this. We tagged it as LAG Golf, or it's Learning Adult Golf. And we had over 108 participants, both in spring and fall. So the coaches just finished up the fall session. Combination of basically just intro to golf really is what it is. And then the last night we've tried to bring the students on course a little bit. And then we're able to help kind of self-promote our 3 and 6 hole offerings that we have on Friday to Sunday. So we're always kind of plugging that on the back end. So that's been good. So you could see it brought in $23,000 just for that. So the total revenue for the academy, both adults and juniors, this is organized sessions. This isn't like an individual lesson. That's in addition to these numbers, but it was over 105,000 in revenue. And then we had over 380 participants or students this year. So certainly that's something that is near and dear to our heart as spirits. We've all been player development driven, and that was one of the things I started at when I was here. And so we're certainly going to keep that on the forefront. But it's been really good. It's another good year. We'll start recapping what we can do to keep growing and finding new ways. We're actually thinking about ways to piggyback some of the tee sheets that are quiet when we have a league going out, like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from like 2 to 4. Can we piggyback some of those down times for some on-course instruction or things like that to kind of, not just get the students on course, but then not put our golfers, displace them, and then not displace the students where they feel like they're out there and all they keep doing is looking behind their shoulders. So we're trying to potentially look to see if we can do some older juniors or juniors that are looking to get into their high school golf, or adults that are looking to play 9 holes, things like that. So nothing's really set in stone yet, but we're still in the idea phase. But yeah, so we're excited about that. So that's kind of a little academy wrap up for the year for that. And I just, kind of want to let Mark touch on any of the maintenance highlights that you have. More pressure.
We started fairway aeration. It's a slower process. We're so busy. It's just, we can't shut the course down. So as we get it done, the tees and greens have been done, but fairways are in progress right now. As far as fall projects, we're still looking into how much money we have left in capital to do for the bunkers. So that hasn't been decided yet. I had the labor to do it. It's just a matter of how much they want to spend. I also met with the EAC committee with Jim.
I'm not sure.
Hmm?
Was it? I think I might.
No, Jim. He did the Autobahn with you. Yeah. So we went over, drove around the golf course to plant probably another 100 to 150 trees out in areas that aren't going to be in play, but just to bolster some of the forested areas around the golf course.
Why? It's a links course.
It will,
Go ahead, somebody else support me, or people are shaking their heads.
I think why is because it's on the outside of the golf course
it's not on the outside, it's within the golf course, but not.
in the playing area.
It's not in play areas, no.
But they're driven by ecological purpose or,
Yes.
okay. I'm not a fan of the trees in the course, the ones that were put up, but if they're put up for ecological reasons on the perimeters, or if there are some legitimate safety additions, like between 5 fairway and 6 tee or something, where you can legitimately knock a couple balls down to save people getting conked, that's fine.
Right. Yeah, Mike had said there was it's as Mark alluded to,
Yeah,
nothing.
Mike and I
nothing-
drove around.
Nothing in play.
Nothing in play.
Nothing to what you would see.
100, I thought.
I was gonna, I don't know if it was that much. I don't know.
I think it was 80 something.
Yeah, 82.
Mhm.
It's all along the edges and areas that will not affect play.
Yeah, that's probably good. Yeah.
We don't have I was supposed to meet with them this week. I don't have time to meet with them, but before that goes into getting done, we will show you a map of where these trees will be.
Okay, that'd be great.
It's a matter of mapping them and showing them on a, overhead map.
Is this taking money away from any of these other projects that need to be done on the golf course?
I have no idea where the funding is coming from. It's, I believe, something to the government that they're supplying trees. I was never told one way or the other.
Is it an Audubon Society thing? Is that?
I don't.
It's probably the tree
Uh,
bank.
Yeah, I'll chime.
Lower Makefield has a tree bank.
I'll chime in. Yeah, it's through the tree bank. It's nothing. It's not capital money that's being taken away from other projects. It's through the tree bank, which we have.
By the labor?
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah, they do.
it's planted by a outside contractor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have for you.
So the Audubon stuff's all up to date. We're still good on the Audubon Society and.
Yeah, there's been a change in the hierarchy of the Autobahn. The president retired. So I contacted them and I have to do some paperwork, get together some records, and also do some educational things that we have to post around the clubhouse. So I'll be getting that done this fall and winter.
I just want to recognize Mark for all the work that he's put into this. This was a long, arduous project, and he stayed on top of this the whole way. So thank you very much for being part of this. I know how busy you are, with all your other duties. This was a big project and a continually project. And hats off to you, brother. You deserve all the credit. And someone who was in on this project, I really appreciate the time and effort that you continue to put in to it. And it's beneficial to not only to the golf course, but to Lower Makefield Township. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving along here, just going to touch on just a few quick bullets here for food and beverage update. I did probably better for you to look at the handout that I gave you, Mark, or excuse me, Andy and Jenna kind of have been, organizing a lot of these promotional things. The Smoke and Oak, we're going to be doing a prime rib dinner that's going to be had. We've been doing some Eagles promotions on Sundays. Chef Mark's going to be doing a cooking class in the off season here later in November, prior to Thanksgiving. We had a really good success with Breakfast with Santa last year, so that's getting booked again this year. There was a fun kind of karaoke series we did last year, and it seemed like the one on the holiday stretch seemed to kind of work. So I think we've trimmed the karaoke nights down to a kind of a Christmas karaoke thing. So again, just looking at our shoulder season months as we come into play here, we still have some holiday events that are being booked, and we have a couple more events that we have to do in-house that will run, but certainly from the marketing standpoint and food and beverage, all the social media will continue, all the emails, they're going to continue. And I know Jenna booked like trivia nights again, and that's going to be really consistent. That was doing rather well last fall. So I think we're kind of bringing that back and really try to keep things consistent. I think we're doing those on Wednesdays in November from 5:30 to 7:30. So just wanted to let the committee see a little bit of the promotional things that we're doing more as we kind of round out the year here. And again, as we mentioned, with the capital, Mike didn't want me to review any of this. I just really wanted you to just see what he had already emailed out. And I think a few of you may have already seen that. I did want to make sure the committee knew that I know it says golf cart GPS bid structure down there. It sounds like the current company that we're using on the tracers is Fairway IQ, and they have a very similar platform to Tag Marshall, which was the other company we were looking at. But Fairway IQ is in the CoStar pricing model for the township, so that allows us not having to go out to bid. So I think Mike's been speaking with Fairway IQ to stay with them in particular and use their kind of GPS component on the golf cart that we currently have. So that's kind of the game plan right now. So we wouldn't have to go out to bid, being that they're on CoStar pricing, which is good.
With the GPS, are you planning also to fence in the golf course with the carts where they can't go certain places? Or
So yeah, the way that works, Rick, it's like it's still through geofencing. So the golf course is already laid out on the geofence within Fairway IQ already, because we've had those sensors on the carts. So really, we could pinpoint areas within certain holes that we would deem as like kind of a restricted area because it's inside that geofence itself and we could target it. And it wouldn't like shut the golf cart down, but it just works right off the tablet. Either it's like flashing red or it's constantly making a noise until you back the vehicle out of that area. Some golf courses that have it built into the golf cart, they have the sensors in the turf and that literally kind of shuts the golf cart down or things like that. This is all through the tablet. So it would just kind of be like, it would just, do some type of indication that you have to make a move. So we could determine those areas on a hole or holes that players would have to be restricted or be mindful of when they're in those certain areas. So it has a lot of really great features. Yeah.
I see that it says number 9 pond. I guess number 7 is further down the road, or
So I think, I know Mike would had touch on that more than myself, but I think that's referring to the liner.
yeah.
So I think the liner was more focused on, number 9, whereas originally it was supposed to be, there was discussion of 9 and 7. But since 7's kind of that transfer pond, I think, it's never really been to a point where it's been high enough to really see if it leaks on 7. Because, when 9's low, we're just moving water over there. So I think the conversation was, well, let's focus on 9 first. And then I think that was from the conversations that I was brought into conversations about.
Is 7 a liner issue also? Or you don't know?
Potentially. I think the reason why, we might not be able to determine if it's consistently leaking is because it's never high. Like when there's water in 7, 9's always low that we're moving it over. So it's never consistently high enough to the bank to see if it leaks. That was my understanding.
So then if we fix 9, then we'll be able to
Or
determine if 7
Yeah.
is good or not.
And then trying to figure out, the dollars and everything else that go with
Mike
it.
was saying last month.
Yeah.
Like, we really don't know if 7 leaks, but we're constantly.
Yeah,
pumping
pump
water.
water.
It probably does,
think it
right?
does.
Number 7 leaks.
Does.
So.
I mean,
Guess we'll see that down the road then, huh?
I think it was just one of those things
like
where
it's $1 million almost to fix.
conversations were just tabled.
Yeah.
So for, I
Yes.
think, for conversation with the committee and the town, certainly I think the focus was, from what I was understanding, was, okay, let's focus on 9 first and then we'll make that next step. So,
What's 19 for? 15 pond?
to add a well, another well.
No, what's the 15 pond for? Is that pumped to 9 also, or?
No.
No, it's
that's
not. It's just a
Just like a natural.
natural,
Not used for irrigation?
base, no.
Nope.
Just-
Yeah, and it's,
Just a drainage basin. All that, once that fills up, it goes out into the woods, to the
Yeah.
creek that runs along 18, 16, 15.
and last year was the first year that, since we've been here, to see it dry, and then it's dry now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now it's dry again.
tells you.
Oh, there were some footprints down there. Somebody got muddy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but you pump water from 9, correct? Or do you also pump from 7?
9 is where the pumping station is.
Okay.
It all comes from there. I have a pump in number 7 pond that transfers, it's a transfer pump that transfers over to 9
So if we're doing one pond, 9's the one to do.
Correct,
to start with, yes.
Okay.
correct.
That has never been addressed since they opened the golf course. It has always leaked badly.
And we spent money on water again this past month, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Not this past month, but this summer, yes.
We did, again.
I don't have those numbers.
Okay.
I've been here 16 years. I've never seen it this dry for 2 years in a row.
Right, but the chances are it can continue to happen, which means we're gonna continue to spend money on water until we
Yes.
fix that pond.
Mhm.
And potentially have to eventually fix number 7, but
I never have enough water to water it golf course properly unless we get rain.
well, we thank you for taking care of the greens this year because they were in by far the best shape I've ever seen them in, and everybody that plays the golf course has raved about the greens.
All right, thank you.
Which is, a lot of people play golf
Mhm.
for those greens, you know, so tremendous job there. And we even noticed fertilizer down, like, the guys are starting to see the small things you're doing.
Blue and the white and the yellow.
But guys know, they're like, oh, fertilizer's down. They see the aerate, they see the spots you're tending to on the fairways with the aerator. So,
We also seeded some fairways, and also it hasn't rained, so I don't want the fertilizer to sit there. I was waiting for rain. I just said, let's put it out.
in 2 more days and we're gonna get flooded.
Well, I wish not flooded, but enough rain.
Yeah.
So then the additional well, it would be a fourth well that would be on the property.
Yes,
That's the discussion, yeah, trying to add a new well. I think Mike said on, what is it, on 15?
it will be on the other side of the pond on 15, probably in the woods. And that'll be most effective so that we don't have to run an extra pipe all the way to the pond. We can tie into that,
One is already there.
the well pipe from 15 approach.
Yeah, there's a well on 15 approach, so there's
Yeah.
talk of if there's another one out there, they can tie into that, and it just goes to the, instead of retrenching and
Right.
relining pipe that was never there. So I think,
And doesn't the Delaware River Basin Authority give you yearly gallon restrictions? They still do that? Or
That, it'll be on allocation.
allocation, right?
Yeah, depending on, I don't know what the parameters are of that, but I just went to a golf course where they have 13 million gallons a month allocation.
Could we use 13 million gallons?
This year will probably be about 27 million gallons, which is another record compared to last year. That's for the whole season.
Yeah.
still not.
That's not enough.
Yeah, with no shade and air always moving, it's dry.
Yeah. That cost of the well would surely pay it off in a short amount of time. I mean, for how much it'll pump and the exorbitant rates that the water company charges. Plus that water has all kinds of chemicals in it that probably not good for the grass, chlorine and, you know, who else knows what they put in there?
Yeah, if I told you what I just paid to have a whole water system put into my house. So I have a well.
It's probably 10 to 15,000.
It was a lot.
Yeah. I know I priced them out for my well.
So that's everything we have. I don't know if
Yep.
there's anything else you
Nope.
want to touch on, Mark, but that's everything we have from an agenda perspective.
Anything else?
Any
from the,
questions?
Committee?
When
Yeah.
does the budget get decided on? I don't know if James can answer that or.
I know there was, I know Mike said there was a few workshops upcoming. Usually kind of the latter part of November, before the holidays. So that's why Mike said to make sure the committee knew if you had, I think in his email, there was this capital kind of draft, and then there was also the budget in there as well. So if there's questions you have for the budget specific, make sure to get those to him before the 6th of November.
I would get with Mike, and if you have to, get with James.
Yeah, because I know there's a few workshops. I don't know if they've had one.
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, the first one is going to be Thursday, November 6th. So that's why we're asking for that
Yeah.
prior to that. And then the second one is not too far after that on the 10th. So Thursday and Monday,
Awesome. Thanks, James.
of course.
Anything else, public or committee? Next meeting is the last Monday of November, I believe. I don't have the dates in front of me. And then we'll talk about doing the December meeting at the golf course.
The last Monday is prior to Thanksgiving, so that would be the 24th. I don't know if that's official. I thought there was an email that went out from.
Yeah, there was,
I have to look.
24th.
The
Thanks,
24th.
Dennis.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna do what we've done in past years on the last one in December at the course, we should talk about that and how we do it. So I can reach out to Mike.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
If nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn? Sure.
Second.
Favor? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.